And so now we move over to the most important part of this story, is the fraud that they got caught for today. When you see this quote from this woman in this clip, I don't know how anyone could not go, are you saying we have people who are bad guys running the country? Bad guys. Now I want to take you on a thought experiment. Let's imagine for a second that instead of people being worried about whether or not Donald Trump was going to, give up power voluntarily if he lost the election, let's say that they found out, at this time during the last election, that the Donald Trump administration had intentionally completely cooked the books on job numbers or another economic indicator that would tell regular Americans whether or not they should feel like the administration had done a good job in the most important category of all, which is the economy. So let's say they found that out, that they intentionally lied, that there was corruption all the way down the line at the leadership of these different, at these different levels of government, and they got caught for that. Can you imagine what would happen in that case? They would be running the most deep dive investigations into these things that you could ever imagine, with their sole goal to find out whether or not they could connect this to Donald Trump so they could just impeach him and then pull him out. And that's exactly what just happened today. That is exactly what just happened. We have a level of fraud. I guess fraud is the only way that you can talk about this when it comes to cooking books and fabricating numbers and the timing for when they adjusted these. And you got to ask yourself why this happened today. Okay. So we're going to talk about that. Okay. And that's going to be our anchor story today. But before that, we're going to talk about two other things. Okay. Because I think that I want to make a point with the order that we do this, because we're also going to talk about this little number right here. Right. So this new story about, does Kamala Harris have a drinking problem? And then also you have this clip right here where Theo and Donald Trump talk about addiction, sobriety, so on and so forth. And we're going to start there because I actually think that this is the more important one in terms of how people make decisions, because you have two categories. One is data driven. Let me look at numbers, hard, cold numbers that the government puts out. And I go, okay, so this is what it was in 2012. This is what it was in 2016. Here's what it was in 2020. And they're like, this administration is doing a good job, or it's not. And there are some people who will make decisions that way. But I think vast majority of people, if they are independent minded and are outside of the two-party system, they will look at a person, they will watch them speak, and they'll look at the other candidate, they'll watch them speak, and they'll be like, which one of these people feels more genuine, right? Like, who feels more genuine? Which one of these people seems like they are capable of thinking about other people in a human way? And what I'm saying is, like, the Kamala Harris and Biden thing that they're doing over here, DNC or whatever, this is like it always is. It is this fabricated, like, we've got 100 advisors. They're sitting here. They would never have any kind of human conversation with actual Americans about addiction, their history with this or not. Trump is doing the other thing, right? He's going around to shows that people actually watch and talking to them about their lives. And I think nothing shows you who a person is more than listening to them talk to other people in like a curious way, wanting to understand who they are and in either a judgmental or non-judgmental way, right? So, and also you have this Kamala Harris, this story that like she's a drunk. And I think it's funny because I'll show you exactly why we want to talk about that. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I mean, I don't even know why I'm saying that. And I'll tell you why I say that is because I had a hard look at my analytics yesterday and I realized that, so obviously I have a very unique channel in that I cover combat sports and then like random kind of cultural stuff. And then I kind of bridged into politics because of Trump's association with Dana White, and it exploded. And so now I have this kind of like double audience or whatnot. And so I'm trying to do videos for both audiences. And what I realized yesterday is that all my combat sports stuff is getting shown to new people at the same rate that it always has, right? Like I do a video, it's like 70%, subscribers or people who have seen my content before, 30% new or unsubscribed, whatever. My political stuff, it was a slow trickle from when it blew up, but now it's like 99% subscribed. Not just they've seen it before, subscribed. The only way that people are seeing my content on this stuff is if they are subscribed to my channel. If you have seen my content before and you did not subscribe, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to see my stuff. So if you value anything that I've said, I don't know how you found this, you're like in the 1% of people, and that's on every single video, every single one of these. I would suggest you subscribe if you ever want to be suggested my content ever again, because that is exactly what's happening right now. So That's what it is. I appreciate everybody subscribing and liking the video. You guys are the best. All right, so let's start really quick here with this. Let's just start with this, okay? Because let's just watch this really quick. So this is like the viral video that shows Kamala Harris, drinking or whatever. And I saw a different one, but let's just watch this really quick.
Our extraordinary President Joe Biden. He's gonna speak in a minute, but there's a lot of love in this room for our president.
Okay, bottom line, here's the deal, right? I remember when this happened with Nancy Pelosi, right? Like there was a video that went around of Nancy Pelosi like supposedly drunk, and with her, not very hard to convince people since she already is all God, that woman, dude. Her and her nephew, dude, are not high on my list of people who I think are good people. I would say that they, you know what? I'm not going to say that. I have met people and hung out with them who know her, and they did not have nice things to say about her at all. Anyway, but like, bottom line is what ended up being the case in that particular incident was that people had slowed down the video. You remember that? Remember when they slowed down the video and they like outed the person that did it? They're like, they completely doxed the guy who did it. It was just some kid or whatever who had like slowed it down just a little bit. It's like some 4chan kid, but it went wide and large. And listen, dude, these guys do not play by any set of rules that you think they do. If you think that you have anonymity, okay, yeah, you do, as long as you do not step on anyone's toes that matters to them. The second that you do a thing like that, where you slow down a video and then a lot of people see it, it goes viral on Twitter, they're going to get you, dude. They are going to get you, especially Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is one of the most vindictive people in the world. Hillary Clinton, too. If you are messing around with Hillary Clinton footage, you are out of your goddamn mind. She will never stop until she hurts you back. I'm telling you that. There are people that like you do not want to mess around with them. I'm not saying you should vote for them. I would keep them as far away from power as possible. But you slow down a video and you get caught, dude, they're going to get you, dude. And that kid got. I don't even know what he's doing. He's probably unemployed. Dude, he's probably like, they probably gave him a hot bag of Fent, dude. He was like, I just need to make myself feel better. You know what I mean? That'll teach you to slow down my voice on video, you little nothing. Look at you now. Why don't you slow down my voice now, boy? Oh, you can't because you're dead. Jesus. But anyway, so bottom line is I don't really care whether or not Kamala Harris drinks a lot or not. And you want to know why? It's because the reports I do believe are these. Oh, there's this one, right? There's this one. Kamala Harris, the soul-destroying bully, former staff expose, shock details of degrading tirades, decades-long toxic behavior that left people in tears and saw them quit at unprecedented levels. Hey, this is who they're rallying around? Okay, I read a statistic, and don't quote me on this, but I read a statistic that 90% of her staff has quit, dude. Like quit during her vice presidency. Okay? Kamala Harris was all smiles, Joe Biden's yada, 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 is my honor, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But the assembled readily applauded. Some must have harbored private concerns. Behind the recent public self-branding of Harris as a kindly, jovial mamala, she has earned a nasty reputation as an alleged soul-destroying workplace bully. Only 4 of the initial 71 staffers hired by Harris during her first year in office still remain in a job. The rest either quit or were fired, according to analysis by nonpartisan watchdog Open the Books. Are you kidding me, dude? Hey, we're talking about Donald Trump's staff that left. How many times have you ever heard that, dude? They're like, he couldn't keep anyone in the roles. How come so many people that work for him now say that he's incompetent? Did you just hear that? 71 staffers hired by Harris in the first year. Only 4 are still there. The rest either quit or were fired. Dude, that is a toxic work environment, period, dude. Regardless, whether she fired 67 of them or 67 of them quit or some other ratio there. Like, I had heard nothing but nasty things about her before I even knew that statistic, okay? And also, keep this in mind, dude. You want to know who else I heard that about? And I looked at them and I was like, oh, yeah, I could see that. Is, oh, my God, who's the one that was throwing binders at people? It was another female Democrat congresswoman. Oh, my God. You guys already know. Kristen Gillibrand? Is that right? No, that's not right. I can't remember. I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about. But she was throwing binders at people. Okay? Let me tell you something right now. Okay? At the end of the day, if you want me to support you as a politician, you can't have ever taken a binder and thrown it at a staff person, okay? If they report that you've done it multiple times, you're out, okay? You're out. I am not voting for you. That is a toxic person that I cannot trust to make rational decisions. There are certain things that are key indicators about your character. How you treat your staff is one of them. Kamala's staff has been widely reported to all say that she is a toxic employer. 71 staffers, only 4 remain, fired or quit. All the rest of them, 67 out of 71. Okay? So again, this comes back to exactly what I'm talking about. You have the data, right? And I guess that is data right there, but you're talking like economic data that they cooked the books on, right? They cooked the books, they got caught. They got caught. They got stone caught today. And I'm going to show you one of the most shocking things about that. And then you have this kind of thing, which is just like, what are they like as a person? Toxic is the answer. Absolutely stone toxic. Now, before we get into stone corruption on the side of the Harris and Biden administration, I wanted to just show you this real quick so we can get a feeling of the other guy, our guy, right? Wasn't always my guy, but it's my guy now, dude. And again, it's because of things like this. When you actually watch him, it's like, is this guy a human or not? He's talking to Theo about his addiction and sobriety. And that's a topic I'm very familiar with that I think is very important that people ignore, but like, it shouldn't be ignored. Like, it's like a secret people think they need to keep that they don't. You know what I mean? But I want to have you guys watch Trump talk about this with Theo. I think it's amazing.
You never have?
No, I never have. I had a great brother who taught me a lesson. Don't drink. And he said, don't smoke. He smoked and he drank, and he was a great guy. He was a very handsome guy.
Is he older? He was older?
Quite a bit older, yeah. And he had a problem with alcohol and smoke a lot. But, I tell people, no drugs, no drinking, no cigarettes.
Yeah.
I tell that to my kids all the time. I'd say, no drugs, no drinking, no smoke. And
it was tough.
He'd always tell me, he'd say never. So he was, really old enough that you would look up to somebody, and I'd look up to him anyway.
Did you admire him?
Yeah, I admired so much about him. He had so much going. He had the look. What
was his name?
Unbelievable personality, like an incredible personality.
What was his name, Donald?
His name was Fred Trump. And he had a problem with alcohol. He got addicted to it because they say alcohol is tougher than drugs to get off of. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
I'm in recovery, actually. I've been in recovery, so like most of the last 10 years.
From alcohol?
From drugs and alcohol.
So which is worse?
For me, drugs is the problem, but if I have a drink, then it's tougher for me to prevent myself from getting it.
It sets off a chain.
Yeah.
But which is harder to quit? I've heard alcohol is harder to quit than drugs, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can only imagine because it's probably more readily available.
And it's social, and you're sitting and everyone's drinking and all.
Yeah, rarely do you go to a dinner and everybody's eating like, Xanaxes or something, for appetizers. Right. Usually people are having like a mint julep or something a little fancier, Negroni I just learned about.
Right.
But yeah.
So you have a problem with that then?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's been in my family. My family, it's like, yeah.
Can you stay away from it?
Yeah, I've done a good job. I mean,
how long have you been off?
I go to recovery meetings. I've been off most recently a little over 2 years.
Do you ever go back on?
Yeah, I've had stints where I go back on
And you don't control it?
it's tough. It goes downhill
No
pretty
kidding.
quick.
So
You think it's going to be
you
easy.
think you're controlling it.
And then you're damn. Yeah,
Boy,
you're
that's
doing
tough.
your go-kart.
Dude, let me just. I'm sorry. I can't watch two people talk about this without adding it. First of all, I just want to point to Trump's demeanor talking about this. Like this whole the way that they present him is just insulting to the senses of anybody who knows what they're looking at. Does this seem like a bad guy to you? Really? Is he being judgmental? He's asking questions he genuinely wants to know, and he's just, I don't know, man. I just get a really good feeling from the guy now that I actually watch him, and especially as he does podcasts in long form where you really get to see who he is, you know? And I will just say the following about the drugs and alcohol thing. So booze, not my problem child at all, you know? And I don't attribute that to anything other than just genetics, just genetically. If you guys, anybody who's interested in this topic, and I've talked about this a lot on my Combat Sports channel, this is a different audience, so I will just tell you guys a handful of things if this is an interesting topic to you. I am of the firm belief that what specific substances become a problem for a person is almost entirely genetic. Okay? It's like you have genetic precursors that will determine whether you respond well to this substance, right? I'll give you a perfect example. So the one that I really cannot mess around with are opioids. I can't do it, dude. You basically, anybody who takes an opioid will fall into one of three categories. There's not a fourth, okay? First one is they'll just fall asleep, right? You get your wisdom. Almost everyone's taking a Vicodin at some point after surgery or something. I mean, unless you're really young. But most of the audience that watches this stuff is they're not 19. You know what I mean? So I'm sure all of you guys at some point have taken a Vicodin. So if you just take it and you're like, man, it just knocks me out, I fall asleep. Okay, that's category one. Category two, they make you violently sick, right? Take a Vicodin and you throw up, makes you feel awful. Okay, that's category two. The third category is you take Vicodin, it gives you energy. Okay, now if you are in category three, you're an addict. The only thing that determines whether or not you get actually full throttle addicted is a ready supply of them, or if you are wildly able to control impulses. Like you take it, you're like, ooh, I like this too much. You do it for a few days and you're like, I'm just going to cut it off. If you lack impulse control and you're in category three, you are going to get addicted to those if you have a ready supply, period. There's just bottom line. And I am way in category three. I love those things, which is exactly why I cannot take them. I've learned the hard way too many times, over and over and over. I mean, I went through stints where I got spracked on them, I quit. One of the most horrifying experiences of my entire life. And I was off for 5 years. 5 full years. And the only reason I started taking them again is because I got a Pseudomonas infection in my eyeball, which is basically like a staph infection in your eye. And it was eating through my eye and it hurt so much that I basically cornered a doctor and was like, give me something for the pain. And that started what ended up being like a many, many years battle off and on. I've been off for 5, 6 years now straight. But it's a beast. Now, I did a thing called Ibogaine, which you could look into that if you want. It's a really heavy psychedelic thing that helped. I had never been able to stay off in that most recent stint, and I had just read all of this stuff. It's like Ibogaine is a completely huge game changer. It's kind of like ayahuasca, but it's specifically tailored towards addiction. I did it, have not touched one ever since. Not one. I could not endorse anything more firmly. We could have a very long conversation about that at another time. But what I could tell you is that the reason I bring that up is because I met an alcoholic who was in recovery at the place that I did it. And I had never really spoken to someone who is a real, true alcohol addict, like a really heavy alcohol addict. And it was very eye-opening. And booze is for people who are wired for booze, it's a beast. A beast. Like a beast. I don't even, anyway, I'm very grateful that that's not my one. Cause if I went to the store and every single time I went there, there's an entire aisle dedicated to oxys that I knew were clean. That's going to be a tough, that's a tough road to hoe. I do a lot of Instacart. Anyway, all right, so that's that. Trump's awesome. Now let's get into the straight up fraud. So in a story that will shock absolutely no one who has been paying attention at all, turns out that the Biden administration had been cooking the books on the economic numbers all along. And so today they announced in the middle of the DNC, which I'm sure was an accident, that oops, there was actually 800,000 jobs that we had on the report that was not real. We knew that there had been some kind of misreporting, but it turns out it was a little bit bigger than we expected. It was 800,000 jobs. And you're like, wow, dude. Wow. And I want you to watch this particular part. Credit to Timcast for putting this together. But what I'm talking about specifically is this woman and what she says about this report, and then look at her job. Okay, this will melt your brain, dude.
Accuse the Biden-Harris administration of being caught fraudulently manipulating job statistics to hide the true extent of the economic ruin they have inflicted upon America. This is crazy. Take a look at, we have this, CNN. I haven't seen this clip. I saw this posted by Tom Elliott, so we'll watch this.
Breaking news into CNN right now. The job growth has been far weaker in the U.S. than originally reported. That is according to new data just coming in this morning. Let's get right to CNN's Matt Egan. What's the headline, Matt?
Jim, 818,000 fewer jobs were added during the period between April 2023 and March of this year. We were bracing for these revisions to come out and show that job growth.
I'm sorry. Can I just go back and just watch him say revisions again, right? These revisions, versus them getting caught red-handed.
Reported that is according to new data just coming in this morning. Let's get right to CNN's Matt Egan. What's the headline, Matt?
Jim, 818,000 fewer jobs were added during the period between April 2023 and March of this year. We were bracing for these revisions to come out and show that job growth was weaker, and that is what we got. This is probably on the high end of the expectations. Some of the forecasters have been
high
saying
end,
probably around few 100,000 jobs. Goldman Sachs had said maybe.
Let me show you this clip. This is Biden-Harris Commerce Secretary.
This is shocking.
This one's got everybody freaking out.
Okay, again, this is the Commerce Secretary who says this. The report that you guys understand where the job numbers come from, right? Like, you guys understand where they come from? Because they come from the thing she is the head of. She's in charge of the entire organization, okay?
When you hear that, do you potentially think that this new numbers could be a liability for this campaign?
No, when I hear that, first of all, I don't believe it because I've never heard Donald Trump say anything truthful.
It is, though, from the Bureau of Labor.
I'm not familiar with that.
So that was the Secretary of Commerce. You ready for this? Listen to the description from the .gov description of what the Secretary of Commerce does. The Secretary of Commerce is the head of the United States Department of Commerce. The role of the Secretary includes promotion of national and foreign commerce, business, the promotion of national economic growth, job creation, improved living conditions, technological competitiveness, and sustainable development. That's her job. That's her job. And let's just focus real quick, okay? So her job includes the following: the promotion of national economic growth and job creation. She's the head of economic growth and job creation, and this is her response to the Labor Department updating their numbers to show that 800,000 less jobs were created than were initially reported. She is responsible for this entire thing in the country. Okay, and let's hear her response to the new labor report one more time.
Hear that? Do you potentially think that this new numbers could be a liability for this campaign?
No, when I hear that, first of all, I don't believe it because I've never heard Donald Trump say anything truthful.
It is, though, from the Bureau of Labor.
I'm not familiar with that.
You can't even make this up, dude. You literally cannot even make this up. It's like a science fiction movie. Okay, walk me through this scene one more time. All right. Bear with me, okay? So they're going to be having the Democratic National Convention. We're going to have the Secretary of Labor the Secretary of Commerce, sitting in the chair giving an interview. Now, that day, they will have released information that shows that they cooked the books by almost 1 million jobs. She is in charge of job growth and economic growth in the country. She's the head of all of it. They're going to ask her what her comment on that new fact is, which is that they got caught cooking the books. And she's going to say, I don't believe it because I don't believe anything that the opposing candidate has ever said. You're all, you mean, so I just want to make sure that I understand your position, okay? So you guys get caught cooking the books. The new report comes out in official government fashion and shows that. The opposing candidate just retweets that information, says, look at what they did. And then when you get interviewed on it as the head of the entire department nationally, your response is, I don't believe it because I don't believe anything that the opposing candidate has ever said. That is the craziest thing ever. And no one, not one Democratic voter who is hardcore on the left will even realize that that's what just happened. And if you told them, they won't care. It's just, I don't even, it's just clown world, dude. Clown world. That's what I got.